Hi, welcome to lesson 13. We are going to be graphing lines using slope-intercept form. So what you're going to use today is page 31.
So I'm watching this. I might be boring myself. If you
And
want to
for page
skip
31, I'm
ahead
just
and
going
get
to
to the
discuss it with
5-minute,
you,
30-second
and
mark,
then we'll do a
it
few
will jump
examples
right into
together
the
from
examples on page
33.
33.
So right now it is the day after Halloween. I am a little sugared up. I can tell I had too much sugar and not enough water. I am hoping by now you have found a routine that works for you for the remote days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that you are watching this after a good breakfast perhaps. But a good routine is really important when it comes to learning new things. So what we learned in class over the last few lessons is that this form of writing an equation, maybe you would want to call it style, is what we're going to be using in 8th grade, but it does have a special name. It's called slope-intercept form. And it's the form that we'll be using in 8th grade, and we discussed how there are other forms, but this is thankfully the only one we're going to really use for graphing. And so we're going to practice a way to graph this using this form, but it's important to keep in mind that you can always revert back to our data table method. So, and we can talk about this in class. If what I'm about to teach you today really is something you find difficult, you can always revert to making a table, inserting some X values, getting a couple points. Well, you only really need 2 points, but maybe 2 or 3, 4 points, and then you can just plot your points on the graph. If what I'm explaining today is a little too tricky, but I think you're gonna like it if you just give it a chance. Remember, how many times does it take? 10 times for me to explain it, and then maybe 50 times to 100 times of practice. No, I would say maybe for this one about 30, and we're gonna practice a lot in class. So this is your slope-intercept form, and remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so that's the format that we're going to be using, where b is your y-intercept, right? And m is your slope. All right, so what happens is the y-intercept is actually a coordinate, a point on your graph. So they often list it like this, 0 and then your b. So whatever number is here becomes the y value in your point. So for our particular equation that I have here, we're going to do 0, 2. That's actually a point right on your graph. And then the slope, we talked about the slope being the vertical change over the horizontal change. And some of you have started graphing or finding slope that way, but we refer to it sometimes as rise over run. It's not my favorite. I like using vertical change over horizontal. I think it makes more sense. But this is something, whoa, that was super sloppy. Good at math, not good at handwriting. Okay, so this is just an easy way to kind of say vertical change over horizontal. So our slope should be in fraction form, so 1 over 2 is our slope. That's our motion. So this is our y-intercept, which is our beginning point. And then the slope is going to give us the motion to find the next few points on the line. So this is literally my first time ever explaining. How many times do I need? Give me 10. Be patient with me. Be patient with yourself. I have lots of ways of explaining it. So if we were to make our coordinate plane, here's your y-axis, right? So our first point that we're going to actually plot is the y-intercept. It is on the point 0, 2. Bloop, bloop. There it is. Now to find the next point, you need to follow the directions to the next point. This is saying to get from here, your y-intercept, to the next point, you have to go +1, which is up, and then you're going to go your x motion, which is left and right, you're going to go right, because this is positive. So because both the numerator and the denominator are positive, we're going to go up, and then for the x values of the change in x, we're going to go right. So from here, you're going to go up 1, take a right, and go 2. 1, 2, and there would be your next point. And you're going to just keep going up 1 over 2. And I'm just kind of, sketching right now. But this is your beginning. Ooh, let me move into the camera. This is your beginning, your y-intercept. If You want to think of it that way, but this, we talked at the end of the day, this line actually shoots right through it, and there's no really beginning or ending to the line, but this is where you're going to begin your process. And then from there, the movement is with the slope. So we will talk a lot about how you figure out if you go up or down, left or right, how many, in the next few examples, but I hope this helped introduce. Okay, so now turn to page 33 in your packet and let's do a few examples on paper together. So this will be my second time explaining it. All right, so we're going to do number 4 first. So first thing I think is important to do is identify your slope and your y-intercept. So it's the equation format is y equals mx plus b. So the y-intercept, which we begin with, is -2, which means you have a point somewhere, not somewhere, not somewhere, exactly at 0, -2. The slope, so how steep the line is that goes through this point, is 7/2. So we talked about what the slope of a line looks like that has like a slope of 1. It's kind of like just like this, and I thought maybe it would be a nice hill, steepness to sled down. A little steep for me, but it's doable. So this is going to be 7 divided by 2. So this is going to be pretty steep, right? I mean, this is 3.5. So we're going to expect a pretty steep line, and because the slope is positive, you're going to see a line going up, right? So I would say like this. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is mark your y-intercept, which is at 0, -2. So we're starting down here. 0, -2. So we're done with this. That tells us where to begin. Now from there, we have our rise over run. So this is our change in y over change in x. So the change in y is 7. So that is your vertical change. So if the change is +7, we are going to go up 7. If the horizontal change, or your change in x, if your change in x is 2, then you'll be going right 2. So these are directions. So from your beginning, you're going to go up 7, right 2, and mark your spot. So from here now, this is different than plotting points. When we plot points, we start at the origin. When we are graphing lines using slope-intercept, we start at the y-intercept. Okay, so from here you're going to go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you're going to take a right and go 2. 1, 2, and then you're going to mark it. That's about all I can fit going the positive direction. So now what we're going to do is get a ruler. It's like my left-handedness because my tripod's in the way. Ah! Okay. Oh, it's a little off. If you could see what I'm trying to do right now, you would understand. And then we label it y equals 7/2 x minus 2. And see how steep that line is? I'm going to go with no way am I sledding down that hill. I think I might even... do you think this is steep enough that we would like tumble down? Actually, honestly, we wouldn't be going down it. This is positive, so we'd be climbing up. No way. that's a no way. Okay. So, number 5 is y equals -6x plus 3. So we are going downhill here. And this is wicked steep. So your y-intercept is 3. So we're going to mark the point 0, 3. And then our slope, this is tricky because I told you the slope had to be fraction. What's if it's vertical change to horizontal change and I only see one digit, what are we going to do? Well, you need to put this back into ratio form or fraction form. You just make it -6/1. Remember, when we were finding slope and you got an answer like -6/1, you simplified it to -6. Well, now we need that denominator. So what we're going to do is the top number is your change in y, so that's your vertical change, your up and down. So if it's -6, you're going to go down 6.
And then if the bottom number is positive, see how that's, okay. This is your change in x, which tells you whether you go left or right. If it's positive, you're going to go right 1. So where do we begin to do this? We're going to begin at 0, 3, your y-intercept, right here. This is where the graph of your line crosses through the y-axis. Now we're done with this. To find the next point, you have to follow these directions. So from here, you're going to go, what did we say? Down 6, take a turn and go right 1, mark that next spot. Down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take a right and go 1, and that's it. That's the other spot. You could continue this down and get another spot if you want it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take a right, and here's another point on the line that you could easily graph, a friendly point, right? So then we get our ruler out. Oh my goodness. Graphing. Using the ruler this way is like challenging for me. These things, these small things, you know. Y equals negative 6x. Now this one is a negative. So if little man was walking this way, and he was going to go down this hill, whoo, doggy, you are probably not going to stay on this surface. I'm gonna bet, right? Let's just do one more. And again, we are gonna practice, and it's gonna be great. Like, remember the last time we came in, we found slope, and how great that went, how kind of uncomfortable you felt coming into class, and how you were so good at it when you left. Same thing. So this is really plus 0, remember? So your y-intercept is 0, which means you're passing through the origin, or you're beginning at the origin. Then your slope is 5 over 3. Your change in y over your change in x. Positive 5 means you're going up 5. Hello. And, oh, look, it even still looks like a 5. And then your change in x, your horizontal change, since it's positive, you're going to go right. Now, where do we begin? We begin at 0, 0, right here. So we do happen to start right there. And then oh, I hate when I smack my lips like that. I'm sorry for that. It's a bad habit. From 0, 0, we are going to go up 5, right, how many? 3. Up 5, right 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. We could, I think, do it again. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right. So what do we think about the 5/3 slope? Could you hike up that? I'm thinking no. Maybe some of you could. Not Mrs. Raymond. A little steep for me. Okay. So I'm going to stop at 3 examples because I'm at 8 minutes on this video. And I don't know how many minutes the other one was. So tried the exit ticket. It's short and sweet. You just have to match the graph up to the equation. And then there'll be some more practice with this tomorrow. See you soon.